build in Wuchang to pretty much beat every single late game boss using Crescent Arc. Make sure you don't get these two follow-ups because they will chain your dodge into a attack, which could get you hit in case you're trying to spam the Crescent Arc a couple of times. The next thing I would go for is Deflect. Certain bosses that primarily use melee weapons, you can parry and do massive damage if you have these two follow-up skills. So Strength is going to be your primary stat, followed up by Vitality because that's your health. Then Agility, since that is the secondary scaling for the longsword, and Endurance to have that stamina. You recover a small amount of stamina upon gaining Skyborn Might, which comes in handy since with a longsword you will be gaining a Skyborn Might stack every second attack. For Pendants, you're going to want to have the Dracolich Pendant. This is absolutely critical in any fight against enemies like the Dragon Emperor, pretty much any enemy that has a roar attack. Increased damage against large enemies. This is what we're going to be using against the Dragon Emperor. Of course, he's a large enemy. And increase the potency of your weapon's physical attack. There's no reason to ever take this off. Alright, so going into the arena, phase 1 and phase 2 will give you so much time to take consumables. However, in phase 1, I recommend just taking a Fire and Feather. You probably have a lot of them stacked up. He starts off with a lunge, pretty well telegraphed, easy to dodge, and then goes into a roar, which is perfect for me because I can put in some extra damage. The ground slams are really well telegraphed. The swipes, however, are really hard to read. They're really fast. So you can see that 180 swipe gets me and does a lot of damage. There's the roar again. Might make you stumble a little, but no problem. As many of those ground slams as he can do, the better for us because they're just so easy to dodge. There's the tail slam as well. Pretty well telegraphed. You can tell it's coming. He's face down, ass up, and now he goes into another roar, giving us a lot of damage. Super easy to dodge ground slams to the point where I can even get some attacks in between. And then the swipes knock me down as per usual because the swipes are just, I have not gotten used to reading those. The ice AoE attack, pretty easy to dodge. As soon as you see him smash the ground, that's your first dodge. Wait a second, second dodge. You should be good. And here he goes into some weird wind up spell cast animation and just lets us finish him off. Into phase 2 we go. Here you want to make sure you have enough Skyborn Might to cast the Echo of Beaumagus. If you don't, take a Plumbed Branch. And then you of course want to take your Arm Feather for whatever buff it gives me. It gives me stamina, which is perfect. Can never have too much stamina. He starts off with this massive AoE attack that is easy enough to dodge. You're just going to wait until it takes up most of your screen and use that discipline, Crescent Arc, followed up by a dodge, and then Crescent Arc again, and then dodge until you make it out alive. As you can tell, we make it out alive with the help of Echo of Beaumagus, of course. This is the attack that you want. Whenever he's doing this leech attack, he's sucking out your HP and healing himself. And that lets you heal, actually. Anytime you hit him, you heal up a smidge of health, which is perfect. I don't mind that trade. The swipes are harder, and it's a bit more complicated than just staying behind him because the swipes will reach behind him. The stomps, carried over from phase 1, are very nice to see because they're the easier move to dodge. He's going to do a lot of teleporting and trying to use AoEs and ranged attacks on you like that, like a fissure in the ground, similar to Night Rain. As soon as he raises his arm up to the sky and kind of starts sucking everything off, that's how you know you need to get close to him and start hitting him. As you can tell, I'm healing as I'm doing damage. Perfect. There's a swipe straight to the back, dodge it. And there he goes again. This time I'm gonna heal because I'm kind of low. And then I start hitting him. Here I am actually not healing. So that mechanic is a bit weird to me. Sometimes you heal, sometimes you don't. But it is a nice feature to have. You want to keep the pressure on him because you can stagger him and get massive damage out of it. And you want to stay close to him just so you can keep that posture damage up. Crescent Arc is always a safe bet anytime he smashes his sword into the ground. However, staying close to him can also avoid a lot of his AoE attacks, like the one where he creates bombs all around him, just like this.
I got his ass. Yeah, boy.